We begin this story with Kyle, a successful diamond merchant who lives a life that many of us dream of. He drives a state-of-the-art supercar and has a beautiful wife with whom he shares a mansion in Beverly Hills. Every morning, his wife Sarah prepares breakfast for him and tries to get him to eat healthier, or at least to eat at all, since Kyle's hectic schedule barely allows him any time with his family. This has created a dysfunctional dynamic at home, and it is here that we start to realize that his life is not as perfect as it appears. His wife makes an effort to spend time with him, but every time she suggests doing something together, Kyle has a meeting, a call, or some other engagement that prevents him from joining her. When Sarah confronts him about this, he only replies that he works hard so that she and their daughter Avery can have the life they dreamed of, while he reminds her of the luxurious souvenirs he's always buying. The couple decides to postpone this argument when the doorbell sounds via the intercom. Kyle sees two men in police uniforms. They tell him that they are investigating an invasion on the neighbor's property and would like to ask him a few questions. However, the men position themselves so that Kyle cannot see their faces through the camera. As Kyle walks toward the door, Sarah decides to check on A, who is being punished in her room because she had run away one night with her boyfriend. Sarah knocks on the door, but Avery does not respond. So using a spare key, she enters the room and finds it empty. The young woman has run away once again. This might have been beneficial, since barely had Kyle opened the door when the officers attacked him, placing a gun to his head. Their uniforms are fake. In reality, they are thieves who have come to rob them of all their possessions. These men seem to know the location of Kyle's state-of-the-art safe, which requires both a code and his fingerprint. Elias, the leader of the thieves, points a gun at Sarah's head and orders Kyle to open the safe. However, Kyle makes a counteroffer. Every diamond in his safe is marked by its weight and cut, so they will never be able to sell them without alerting the authorities, and they would only fetch a fraction of their true value. He then proposes to get them cash for the following day. Jonah, the youngest of the thieves, believes that Kyle is mocking them. This isn't a withdrawal from a betting house or an ATM. The order is that you open the safe or your wife dies, he declares. At that moment, Sarah recognizes the voice of the assailant. It is the same handsome guy who had installed the security cameras a few weeks ago. Elias tells Sarah that after Kyle opens the safe, he will inject both of them with a sedative so that they sleep for hours. And when they wake up, they will be very far away. The only reason to kill them is if Kyle continues acting tough and refuses to open the safe. Tay, the thief with plenty of muscle but little sense, grows tired of Kyle's inaction and pulls out a knife, ready to stab Sarah in the abdomen. But in a sudden twist, Jonah pounces on him and stops him, protecting Sarah for reasons unknown. Elias takes Sarah to the kitchen, where he learns that she and Jonah have been having an affair. The young man is obsessed with her, and it isn't surprising. After all, it's Nicole Kidman, as expected in this action-packed scenario. Elias clearly tells Sarah that she has 5 minutes to convince her husband to open the safe, or they will kill I. Meanwhile, as Elias approaches to intimidate her, Sarah manages to pull a syringe containing sedative from her pocket and is about to inject it into his neck. But when she hears the name I, she hesitates. She isn't sure whether they have A or if she has managed to escape again. However, she can't risk putting her in danger once more, so she keeps the syringe and returns to the living room with her husband, pleading with him to open the safe. They then hear I's voice. She has just arrived and is stunned to see what is happening. Now that Elias has the whole family hostage, he threatens to kill I right in front of them if they don't open the safe. At that moment, Sarah attacks Elias and forces the syringe to his neck. The thieves point their guns at her, ready to kill, and among them is Petal, Elias's girlfriend, who is into drugs and is somewhat unstable. Sarah begs her husband to be a man and stand up to fight for his family, but Kyle does nothing. Perhaps he is a coward, or perhaps he does not want to die. Finally, to calm the situation, Kyle gets up and enters the code into the safe, only to reveal to everyone that it is completely empty. There isn't a single dollar or diamond inside. It turns out that Kyle is bankrupt. He had been fired more than 7 months ago. The money the thieves saw wasn't even his. It had been used to pay the house mortgage, though it still wasn't enough. He had been surviving on minimal commissions from his former clients who call him to appraise the diamonds they buy from the competition. Elias is furious and beats Kyle for wasting their time. After this, they start to search the house for anything of value, and in a photograph, they see Sarah wearing a diamond necklace. They drag her to her room to demand it from her. At that moment, she tells Elias that the family knows who they are, and that the best course of action would be to kill them to cover their tracks. Sarah hands over the necklace and quickly calls Jonah to beg him to save Avery. If he can get his daughter out alive, she will let him do whatever he wants. Since Jonah is obsessed with her, he agrees to help her on this carnal promise. Jonah manages to separate A from her parents, and a furious Elias threatens to kill Kyle just for the fun of it. Yet once again, Kyle surprises him with his desire for death, mocking the thieves by revealing that the necklace they were so desperate for was fake, the real one he had sold months ago to pay off debts. Elias hits the necklace with his gun, shattering it into 1,000 pieces, proof that they were not real diamonds and that Kyle had been honest. Sarah still has no idea why her husband would do something like that to anger the thieves. It appears he really wanted them to kill him. Elias breaks down before Kyle and confesses that he and Petal are drug traffickers, and that a week ago, $80,000 worth of cocaine was stolen from them. If they do not repay it before dawn, they will be killed. Tay is actually the mafia enforcer accompanying them to ensure they get the money, and so he offers one final deal. Kyle must hand over something valuable enough to settle his debt, or they will all die at dawn. Of course, Elias is a petty criminal who doesn't have the courage to kill anyone, and that is why he is asking for Kyle's help, so that both can leave alive. But at that moment, Petal finds a photograph in Kyle's briefcase that clearly shows Sarah kissing Jonah, which means that Kyle knew of his wife's infidelity. That is why he behaved the way he did. He had been breaking his back for her, while she chose to betray him. For this reason, Kyle doesn't care if they kill him. He is tired of trying for that ungrateful family and no longer cares about living or dying. Upon hearing this, Sarah is enraged and lunges at Elias, knocking him out with a punch. This sparks a dispute between Jonah and his brother, who is already losing his sanity. Before the brothers can fight, the doorbell rings again. It turns out that one of the silent alarms was triggered, and the security guard needs the owner's signature to confirm that nothing is wrong, or else he will notify the police. Elias climbs to Kyle's room, dons a silk robe, and greets the security guard, signing the document while impersonating Kyle. But before the guard leaves, Jonah appears and assassinates him. It turns out that the document had Kyle's photograph, and Elias didn't notice due to his nervousness and exhaustion. Elias prepares to kill the family and flee as quickly as possible. But before that happens, Avery offers them a deal. Jake, the boyfriend's friend, is also a trafficker and has a safe full of guaranteed money, more than $180,000. If they spare her parents, she will take them to his house. He was there, and there is a party, so he can hide them in Jake's room without anyone noticing. They could take the money and no one else would have to get hurt to avoid any risk. Elias orders Petal to leave with Avery to get the money from Jake and return immediately. I takes her father's car and leaves the house with Petal, who carries a gun so that the young woman does not attempt anything foolish on the road. However, as soon as A notices that Petal is high, she gradually accelerates until she reaches 100 kilometers per hour and drives the car straight into a post. In doing so, Petal's seatbelt disengages at the last second, killing her instantly. Despite the impact, A remains unharmed, but now she must deal with the fact that she is a murderer, a matter she will have to postpone for later because her family is still in danger. So she takes the gun and returns to the house. Things have spiraled completely out of control. Ty finds Jonah promising Sarah that he will escape with her and that no harm will come to them, and a fight ensues. Ty is extremely strong, tossing Jonah from one side to the other as if he were a rag doll, until eventually he kills him. Elias then appears and shoots Ty in the neck. In his final moments, Tay confesses that it was Jonah who stole $80,000 worth of cocaine. They are in this predicament because he fell in love with an older woman and wanted his brother's help to steal from him. His brother having dragged him into all of this mess because of a woman who is clearly out of his league. The brothers are about to fight, but they suddenly realize that Sarah and Kyle have disappeared. They run throughout the house and find them in an area that was under renovation. Kyle grabs a keychain pistol and tries to protect his wife, but Elias tackles him against a wall. When they break through the half-constructed wall, a pile of bills flies out. It turns out that Kyle had been hiding the last of his money within the walls. The brothers forget their quarrel and start gathering the money. At that moment, Avery appears and points Petal's gun at them. Seeing that Avery has returned without her girlfriend, Kyle realizes that Petal will not return. So he pulls out his own gun to kill Sarah, but he is struck by a bullet from his own brother, who has decided to protect the woman he loves rather than his own family. Of course, he's crazy. In the end, Jonah tells Sarah once again that it is time to leave. Now they can be together and run away as they always wanted. But Sarah tells him that he is a maniac and insane. She claims they were never together, that he stole a kiss from her as they left the pool, and she did not bid him farewell out of pity, that they never really had a relationship. It was all just illusions in her mind. Enraged, Jonah tells her that soon she will come to understand the truth in his love, and he begins to gather the money. At that moment, Kyle kicks a container full of fuel and then hurls a liquid-filled lighter. The flames quickly spread over all the money, and Jonah panics trying to save it. Seizing the opportunity, Kyle shoots a couple of nails into Jonah's feet, preventing him from moving away from the fire so that he starts to burn. Jonah pulls out a gun and points it at Kyle, but Sarah intervenes and attacks him, while Jonah shouts that they will burn together. Kyle manages to grab the gun and shoots him, putting an end to the nightmare and leaving the house before the fire can consume it. The family gathers in the garden and forgives one another, while the house burns with the thieves trapped inside.
If you want interesting movie recaps, like, share, and subscribe to follow us for more movie recaps.